Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew Racy for another throwback episode. This time we'll be covering Steve Ditko in black and white and shades of gray. Now, the reason I make a point of shades of gray is Ditko became really influenced by Ayn Rand and her objectivism viewpoint, whereas the hero is not morally gray. He believed in good, there's evil, slash, no shades of gray, no characters with feet of clay. I wish I could think of something else to rhyme with those two lines. But anyway, I'm going to get right to the point. I'm going to hawk my wares, then we get right down to the action. I have 3 novels on Amazon, exclusive, and it's a band called The Demands, and the book is based on the name of the band. And they're in Pittsburgh, and they play a lot of joints. They're just starting out. They're a bunch of, they're just a bunch of misfits, basically, and they go through all the problems that bands go through as far as infighting and such. But on top of that, they have to deal with the Russian mob, who owns a lot of clubs and bars in Pittsburgh, and lady ends up dating one of the offspring of one of the big guys, and things get really ugly. So anyway, hope you get that. It's prose novels if you're into that, and it's also a bit of crime drama. Oh yeah, blank page. Way to go, Drew. And also it's got a little of everything. It's pretty ugly stuff. It's more like if it were a movie, it'd be like rated R, because just because of the material inside. It's intense, baby. Hope you'll give it a shot. There's previews on Amazon. Okay, now on to the show. Creepy and Eerie were both black and white magazines that started in the late 60s, and they ended in the late 70s, I believe. I had said on previous episodes that black and white magazines on the stands were a big deal. I mean, there was a Conan book that sold really, really well all the way through the 1990 or so, and there was a lot of other magazines like Creepy and Eerie. They sort of follow in the footsteps of the EC comics back in the 50s, and because they were magazines as opposed to comic books, they were not subject to the Comics Code Authority, which that's a long story. Like Mad Magazine did. They start off with a comic book for first dozen issues or two, and the Comics Code Authority, basically they got almost put out of business because the Comics Code Authority was created, and it hit EC the hardest because they were overseeing a lot of stuff and making sometimes flip choices in what was they perceived was good, what was perceived as bad. And EC was, they had some really dark stuff going on, but they had a great pool of talent, and all those stories were excellent. So, okay, enough of that. So there I go, sidetracking again. Anyway, this came out in 2013, so it's like 9 years old already. Even though this is stuff from Creepy and Eerie, and they just went with Creepy, and I guess that's because it's easier to see on the. I mean, instead of going into great detail about having both logos on the cover, which would kind of wreck the layout of the cover. Let's see, we'll start right here. Whoa. I like those end papers. Is that what they call it? End papers, yeah. Well, Steve Ditko from Johnstown, Pennsylvania. So, lots of stuff going on. And I think it'll be exciting because there's a lot of stuff that you may not have noticed. When I was growing up, Steve Ditko was known to me as a fill-in artist because... And also, I didn't like his stuff. That's very narrow-minded of me back then. But his early Spider-Man stuff I liked. His early Doctor Strange stuff I liked. But kind of like Kirby, I didn't expand my tastes in artwork when it came to classic artists. I thought Kirby was too blocky and crude, and I thought Ditko was just too childlike in his drawings. And it was completely stupid. It was completely a stupid viewpoint, just because he wasn't drawing like Neil Adams, like half the people in comics industry was, and did throw a lot of sometimes unnecessary line work, cross hatching and such. Well, here we go. He's using ink wash now. Ink wash, basically, it is what it means. It's instead of ink, like that's all black, and what you do is you have a bottle that's mixed with water and ink, and it gives you that gray effect. And you're very gingerly with it, like you'd usually test it out on a piece of paper on the side. Something like that is so... It's just a minor thing, but I mean, Ditko just brought it to life, and Archie Goodwin wrote most of these stories, and these magazines is what got him into Marvel, because he was just writing great stories, so Marvel poached him. So that is really, really elaborate. Okay, I'm gonna wait till it scans properly. Okay, I'll zoom in. Well, Ditko really went crazy with this stuff. It really, really, like that sort of stuff that makes you think of Kriegstein back in the EC days, and back during those days, Ditko, he was around, but he was just starting out, and he didn't. I don't think he did anything for EC. He was just doing for small publishers, and eventually Marvel. And now this, as opposed to the previous, he puts in a ton of delicate line work that is just, I can't imagine how long that took. And notice he has basically straight lines for the shadow, but uneven to show a piece of wood. Probably, it's like a stack of books. And when you go to those old bookstores, oh, how can I forget this? Wow, that's just impressive. It's like not only did he do the lines, I don't know if he used. There's a paper that you could ink over with water, and craft tint is what it's called, and it gives you these. Like it doesn't show any. I don't know. It's like painting in gray wash, but you can do more elaborate stuff, and it has a bit of a pattern to it. So shades of Doctor Strange, huh? So that just goes to show how important Doctor Strange was for a long time. And when he left, I think the book was pretty rudderless until, I mean, even the Gene Colan issues, because Roy and Gene, beautiful stuff, it just seemed to be, I don't know. It seemed to be almost like a typical Marvel comic as far as stylized pages. And I love Gene Colan. All those little lines. And his storytelling is superb. Okay, now we're back to gray tones. Love that. That's almost every artist of significance uses the old lighter trick for effects. I mean, Frank Miller was doing it a lot with Bullseye and all these other characters. Okay, I'm moving along. I'm just turning the pages, trying not to. There's a little bit of sci-fi thrown in there, or space opera, whichever term you prefer. That's so twisted. And hats off to Dark Horse for reproducing this in such fine detail, because I can't imagine what a hassle reproducing gray wash was, even if you had access to all the original art. It's not meant for reproduction. He did some nice Wally Wood type inking here, and there were times this was about the time or after Thunder Agents by Tower Comics, which was spearheaded by Wally Wood and Len Brown, and Wood inked Ditko in quite a few stories, and I think that rubbed off on him a little bit. Really sharp stuff. And part of the reason I think it's sharp is I think the magazines were maybe a little bit bigger than the average. I mean, they were magazine size, but I think the pages, interior pages, were larger, or the image. Let's see. And now, check this out. This is wild. Ditko does dry brush here. And another thing for those of you not to know, it's again what it's explained to be. That is when you don't ink using a brush or a pen to give that dark quality. You basically wait till your brush is almost out of ink, and if you just dip into the ink and it's too heavy, you kind of on the side you kind of wear out the ink that's on the brush, and that gives you gray tones in dry brush. And I just love it. It's like he's so experimental. He's taking advantage of the black and white media. And I've never seen Ditko do this kind of stuff before. Never. I mean, that's just, and he was clearly having fun with black and white. And you know, I've said this before, but I was born too late. I would have loved to work for Creepy Eerie or any of the Marvel mags, because you can experiment. You know, you had the Filipino finishers over John Buscema who did astonishing work. So, and the last faces, I think Jack Davis or somebody similar, they kind of paste that in at the beginning of each story. Okay. Wow, look at the folds. That's just amazing. It's really tight, and puts you in mind of Hulk #3 on the first page, or the origin story in issue 3. But I know it's not a pastiche or anything. It's just a coincidence, you know. Yeah, he's like, hey, leave me alone. I'm choking this guy over here. So drink it in. Here we go. This is what Doctor Strange would have looked like had Ditko stuck around. Maybe the gray wash would be a question mark. I don't know how good Marvel Comics reproduction was. I think the only comics that really did well in color was Steranko, and that's because he colored his own magazines with the impression, with the intent that it's going to print on newsprint back then. And this was newsprint back then. I mean, you know, years later. I just love that. It's just crazy. Yeah. I just love that. Oh my gosh. That's so tight. He was just see, if I came close to doing this on the first issue of Secret 6. The relaunch came out in 2015 or so over Ken Lashley. I got to do 2/3 of the book because Ken was in Mexico for a comic convention, and he sent his pages. See, there's another non-Ditko face. He was in Mexico, so he took phone pictures, and the editor sent them to me. I blew them up, I cleaned them up, and then I lightboxed them, and I got to do a lot of this kind of wash effect over it. That, oh my gosh. It's about a pesky fly. Try not to spoil the... Look how tense that is. And that's something interesting also. It's like I've never seen him do... I don't know. I don't think he did dry brush for that. Maybe he did. Or I think he might have watercolored it. That's another option. So, those typical Ditko sweat-filled faces, or sweating nervously faces, just there's not enough face to show that he's sweating. But he just does those. Oh, there goes another non-Ditko head, which introduces all the stories. Oh gosh, this is just too much. Well, when I got this at Dr. No's, Cliff Bigger's comic store up in Marietta, Georgia, and I loved it. So you can probably find it. I mean, he may have another copy, or check with your better comic stores, which may have a really good back issue selection of stuff that's off the beaten path, like this. And it was it was only $19.99. Woohoo! Dollars, $19.90. This I just got lucky finding it because I've never seen it anywhere else, And I think I found this in Florida. No. It was, I think, I don't know. But it was in Georgia before I moved to CrossGen in Florida. And this is just one of those things that maybe in the bookstore ordered one copy of, because it's really outside the norm. It's an anthology, but it's Ditko does all the stories. Does anthology mean like different artists every time? It's a collection of short stories. Okay, I'll put it that way. Later on, this is 1997. Later on, you will see Ditko also incorporate stipple. That's basically when you tap your pen down and then you make it collect into a shape. Drew Friedman, who was a humorous cartoonist, he did that a lot. I myself am not a fan. No, I like stipple. I just don't have no interest in doing it. I did it in art school as a project, but it takes too long. And after a while, I get the impression that other than the design, they all sort of look alike, you know. So if you feel otherwise, leave a comment below. Tell me I'm full of shit. That's fine. Please leave a comment below. Hit like and subscribe, because I need more minions. I need more followers. Followers always struck me as a really doofy term. You know, it makes you sound like I don't know, like a cult leader. Love that. Oh, Ditko also, he must have done 24 at least characters that had the brim hat and the suit, with the Question, Mr. A, and other characters too. He had, back in Spider-Man, he had the big man, and he had some other guy that I can't remember in Spider-Man, but let me know below, please, because I'm having a brain fart. So, wow. That's some spooky shit. That was the other thing he did a lot, was a collage, not collage, but a bunch of floating heads that would condemn the guilty. And this is pretty neat. I'm not gonna, I guess I shouldn't spoil it too much, but it's called In Due Time. That's just amazing stuff. And this is regular comic size. Now, check with your local comic store or eBay or something. Wow. How's that? And I think when Ditko came back to Marvel in the late 80s, late 70s, he... Look at that. That's amazing. I said this in a previous episode that Ditko's not necessarily known for drawing beautiful women like Matt Baker or some of the other artists, but once in a while you'll see something really, really awesome like that. And, that's just, there's nothing bad on him. It's just he focused a lot more on other images, more imagery. Look at that. That's really, really impressive. This is 1997 or so, and he was still, he kept self-publishing his own books that dealt with Ayn Rand type O. Henry stories. Now this one, it's like open in color. This is much more like the stuff he did for Marvel in the late 70s, and Shade the Changing Man for DC. Now, as far as I know, this never came out. And, oh my lord, look at that. Hoofa! That's astonishing stuff. Phantom Graphics. Love that fog effect. Okay, here we go. There are no absolutes, no black and white, only grays. No certainty, no good or evil. No one is better, no one is worse. No way to know to judge. Of course, some grays are grayer. And some grays aren't gray enough, but no gray is a bad gray. Yes, no bad, true, we're all alike, absolutely not, we can't be judged. And he's a mugger, a violation of my rights, and we also have witness, it's all lies. Speak for yourself, not for reality. That was very much a thing too, where some of the stories had a lectury tone to it, but and then sometimes you just did out-and-out adventure stories like this. This would like really... Can you imagine this and old Tales to Astonish and tales of suspense before the Marvel superheroes came along. I could. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you buy my novels. And there's a preview of each one on Amazon. And please, as I said before, hit like and subscribe, please. I want to get out of the sargasso of the web. I want people to know this because, I really put a lot of effort in my subject matter, and I'm doing no advertising. And like I said, if you leave a comment below, if you've seen a second issue of this, please notify me because I'd have to get it. That's about it, and we miss you, Steve. You were a one-of-a-kind artist, and you stuck to your principles to the very end. Very admirable guy. He didn't bullshit people. He just laid out his belief system, and also he wasn't like I don't know how to put it. He was still approachable and friendly. There's been this myth that he's been a hermit and he hates everything and everybody, blah, blah, blah. But I actually I typed to, I think Mark was his nephew or somebody, Ditko, and he said it was the exact opposite. He showed photos of Ditko with family and enjoying himself. He didn't have a wife and kids, but he was... because he was dedicated to his art, but he had a big family outside of that. So anyway, we miss you, Ditko, and R.I.P. and you have a good old day. Bye.